So welcome everyone to our Gemini end user training series today. So we will be discussing the human resources end user persona. Today we will begin with a brief overview of Gemini to ensure everyone on the webinar series receives the same foundation, and we will finish with persona-specific content and demonstrations. This meeting will be recorded and published to YouTube, along with our previous Gemini training recordings. That link will be shared no earlier than Monday, as it takes time to process and publish. The content shared today may or may not be applicable to your organization. On this webinar, we are hosting federal agencies, state agencies, local governments, and other public sector organizations. Please reach out to folks in your IT department if you have any questions on enabling certain Gemini features for your organization. We've also enabled this as a view-only session today, which means you will not be able to comment, but you will be able to use the Q&A features. So at the bottom right of your screen, there is a little waffle icon with meeting tools, and that's where you can access the Q&A feature. And so Q&A is what will enable you all to ask questions. And then there, you're also able to vote on each other's questions. So we will answer in the order of popularity at the end of our call today. And so I will also monitor the Q&A as it comes in. So if there is something pressing to address, I'll be sure to call it out while Goldie is presenting. Last, we would love if all of you could submit feedback on our next persona-based trainings using this link that I will paste in the chat. I sent it to you all via email ahead of this call, but we are just looking for more ideas for the sessions that we'll host in the coming months. We also really encourage you to send it to others in your organization who might be interested in training specific to their role or department. Once we finalize the next few trainings, a registration form will be sent out. Now on to introductions. My name is Evan Larson, and I am a Workspace specialist for Google Public Sector, and I'm your webinar host today. I am joined by co-host Goldie Aurora, who I will now pass to for his introduction.
Nice to meet you all again. My name is Goldie Aurora. I'm a Google Workspace customer engineer. The response for our time investment here is really great. So just keep supporting us, and we will make sure that we come up with more personas and help you leverage Gemini for your day-to-day and be more productive with it. Evan, should I just start the content or webinar, or?
Yeah, go ahead. Thanks,
Okay,
Goldie.
great. Well, just to start with, please give us a thumbs up if you work as an HR professional. Just wanted to check how many of you are in HR. Okay, a lot of them. Great to hear that. Now, also give us a thumbs up now if you are not into human resources, but you still joined, just to see what you can learn from today's webinar. Okay, that's great. All right, well, though the content that we have today is very specific or exclusive for HR professionals, but when we are presenting this content, I want, especially if you're not into HR, I want you to visualize how you can leverage those same themes and same concepts in your day-to-day, regardless of what profession you are in. So with that, we do understand that attention span is short, and you're investing 1 hour with us, and that really means a lot to us. And based on our previous webinars and some of the surveys we have done to our customers, they are saving a lot of time after understanding and being enabled on how to leverage Gemini to be more productive. So I do have some very good content which is specific to HR, but before that, I just wanted to make sure that some of you, especially who are joining or starting their journey with Gemini, we should be on the same page and understand like the basic fundamentals of generative AI. And I understand we don't want to go into technical side of it and become an artificial engineer, but just to understand and quantify what's behind it, which powers Gemini and help you save time. So I really want you to think of it as a supercomputer, a computer which has read so much content. And to quantify that, I would say just think of 160 million average size books. And this computer is not ready to work as your assistant, as your intern, without being tired. But what it expects from you is to just review its work. So think of it as a doer, which will do the work for you, and then you will just give it a review to make sure that you got what you expected before you consider this as a final piece of asset. Now, it does have certain limitations, and one of them is hallucination, where essentially that assistant might respond with something inaccurate, but with confidence. Now, at Google, we have been working really hard to minimize these. But in case if you see those hallucinations, please give us feedback. You will see those feedback options like thumbs up, thumbs down when you use Google Gemini products in Workspace. All right. So when you interact with Gemini, you will be giving it enough context so it understands what you're exactly trying to achieve. Now, the responses that you get would really replicate or mirror the prompt that you give Gemini. So try to give it enough context. So instead of just saying, a vague example like, please help me save taxes, even if it's a Gemini or your CPA, you won't get the response that you are expecting. But if you give it enough context, then rest assured the response would be very promising. And now I do understand some of you might have question on, well, we will be uploading or leveraging Gemini with our proprietary data that is sensitive to us. And rest assured at Google, we are doing everything we can to make sure that your data is private, it is secure with us. And some of our compliances, I understand the audience today is public sector, so FedRAMP high compliance, and we do not train Gemini or our models based on your data. And that's part of not just me saying here, but it's part of our terms of services itself. So rest assured, when you upload your proprietary data, it is kept safe and secure with best of the security policies. All right, so starting from this slide until the end of the demonstration, I want to tell you that all the content, including the use cases, demonstrations, everything that is created with help of Gemini, except these infographics. So I used Gemini today to create all of this, started today morning, and within a couple of hours, I got the content of this webinar. So I'm not into HR. I just wore a HR hat today, and I started asking Gemini some of the responsibilities of HR professionals, especially in public sector. And it's a think about functions like ensuring compliance with regulations or conducting fair processes in all dealings, etc. That's what a typical HR professional does in day-to-day. Of course, multiple things would be done. So I'll keep these in mind when I demonstrate some of the demos that we have today. So I'll start with Notebook LM, which is a research assistant. And I will assume that I just joined state of New York as a HR professional, and I need to make sure that I have regulatory expertise and I understand the latest developments and regulations to make sure the process that I follow and do is fair. Okay, and that really needs continuous learning, being updated with recent developments and regulations, which would impact my role as a human resource professional. And that's where Notebook LM is really a game changer here. So when you think about learning in general, the way we human beings learn is we have some literature on one side. Those would be talking to smarter people, leveraging books and videos, and then processing with our brain to get some sort of insights or learnings. But brain, as you know, is not a good place to store things. It just it is great to come up with innovative ideas and doing innovative things, and that's the area that Notebook really shines because it's a digital assistant. It can become your second brain and it can help you process much more than we do as human beings. So with that, let me share my screen with you and show you our first demo of Notebook LM. Okay, so I'll share this tab. To access Notebook LM, assuming your organization has enabled it, you will go to notebooklm.google.com, and here you will see the notebooks. When I say notebook, essentially think of them as a specific topic on which you are trying to get insights or trying to be an expert at. You can of course search. For now, I'll click on Create New Notebook, and now I need to give it literature on which I need to be expert on or I need to get insights from. And if you see this, there is a Discover Sources button. So here I can, ask just like I would in Google search, and it will help me find the resources that I can leverage. But in your case, you may have, some of the proprietary assets that you would like to leverage. And I do it as well. So what I'll do is, let me share this tab rather. So I found this summary of the New York State Civil Service Law. It's essentially the main guide that lays out all the rules for public employment in the state. And now it's a 44 pages PDF, but all I need is how would it impact me and help me do my job better as an HR professional. So what I'll do here is I will download this file to my desktop, and then I will go to Notebook LM, share this tab, upload a source. And when it comes to uploading your own literature, you can share it from your Google Drive or link of a website or YouTube video, or even you can paste some interesting text that you might have copied. But for now, I'll click on Choose Resource, and this was my file, and I'll open it. So it will go ahead and open that file for me, and it would be ready within a few seconds. Now, as a new HR professional, stepping into public sector, one of the first things I need to grasp is the foundational terminology and structure of the civil service itself. So I want to quickly understand the landscape. And for that, I will ask my Notebook LM, what are the main classifications of civil service, such as competitive and non-competitive? Now, it's not like a control F behind the scenes. It understood the context of my question, and then it went to this PDF guide, 44 pages long, and it gets me the answer that really matters, that I care for it. And it is grounded in my sources. So if I click on these citations, I can exactly go and see from where did it gather this answer. Okay. Now I can make things a bit beyond the basics. So understanding key HR processes is crucial. So for instance, the disciplinary process in the public sector can be quite detailed with specific steps and employee rights. So I need a clear overview of that. So I'll say outline the key steps and employee protections involved in the disciplinary process for an employee covered by this civil service law. And it gives me those specific details. Now, let me think even more strategically. As HR, I need to understand the broader implications of these laws. For example, how do civil service rules affect our liability, our ability to adapt to changing organizational needs like budget cuts or restructuring? And for that, I'll ask it, based on the provisions outlined, how might the civil service system impact an agency's flexibility? And it gives me this. Now, learning doesn't have to be restricted based on the language. So if I want, I can say, please explain that to me in Spanish, and it will go back and understand the context, and now it should explain that to me in Spanish. Similarly, if I'm a person who understands with analogies, I can also ask it to help me understand this concept, but taking a real life analogy. Now, it is just one source, but just imagine how powerful it gets when you upload up to 300 sources here. And then you can ask those questions. Imagine you have 300 books on one side, and you're asking a question which will leverage the insights and knowledge from all those 300 books here. I do have a video that I saw. Let me make you see that video. So I found this good video. It's about public sector talent management, but it's a 1-hour video. And what I wanted to do is just take insights that would help me in my day-to-day. So I'll copy the URL of this video, and I will come back to my notebook. And this time when I add a source, I would rather click on YouTube video, paste, insert in, and within a few seconds, it should be ready to help me get insights from it. Now, this video dives deep into talent management into public sector, which is a concept often discussed in the private world. So I want to understand how it's specifically defined and applied within the public sector content. So I'll go ahead and ask a question based on Dr. Aura presentation. What are the key characteristics of effective talent management? Especially, how does she link it to better performance and productivity? And it generates the answer in a few seconds, but for now, I'll just click on this generate deep dive conversation. I'll get back to this in a few seconds. So it is going through that video, essentially the transcript of that video, understanding my question's context, and would give me an answer. It started giving me Spanish because that's what I said before this. And I'll say, please respond in English. Okay. And in the meantime, now this is where Notebook LM's true power comes into play. So we have the foundational legal framework from the civil service law, and then a strategic perspective on talent from this video. So I want to see how these two sources interact, particularly around how we acquire and deliver content.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Where was I on my YouTube video?
Yes, yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay, so now I'm asking a question which will, actually leverage both of these sources and give me insights. So this is how you can leverage Notebook LM. We have seen customers leveraging it for in different ways. We have seen technology teams uploading the support documentation of a specific software application and then making it available to their teams so they can, Notebook LM can essentially act as like first line of support channel for their audience. Now, once I have this notebook ready, I can also take it one step further by sharing it with my extended team. So for that, I can click on share, and here I can either share that with my whole organization or maybe just a specific set of people by putting their group. I can add a welcome note, and now I have choice of either sharing it as full notebook, which means they will be able to see the sources as well. But what I prefer to do is share it as chat only. So they don't see the sources, which is powering this notebook, but they can still interact with it. Let me click on preview and show you what it looked like on the audience side. So preview, share this tab, and this is the interface that your team will see. Pretty amazing way of taking a lot of documents, making it like a AI assistant out of it, which can help your team get answers to their questions and then sharing it with them. Now, let's get back to Notebook LM, and I'll close it for now, and I will go on the Studio tab where you have some other options. You can click on Study Guide, and it will create a study guide. This might help if you're trying to understand a better specific topic, or you can imagine you need to present to your management, and if you have 10 different presentation or documents, you can click on briefing doc and it will generate a summarized version of those. If you can also create frequently asked questions, and if your sources would have some sort of timeline events such as RFP, you can also create timeline out of it. Now, if you're a visual learner like me, there are some other options too, such as mind map. So you can click on mind map and it will generate a mind map where you can see the specific branches and sub branches of content and digest that content in a quick way. The audio overview is taking a bit of time, so maybe we can come back to it in a couple of minutes. But this is how you can leverage Notebook LM. Now let's switch the gears a bit and let's go to uh, this tab where I will go to Gemini.google.com. Okay, so after our first demonstration, let's understand how we can architect and implement with Gemini. Because as HR professionals, there would be multiple things that you would do, and one of them would be, ensuring HR documents and policies and information that's clearly and easily accessible to all employees. And let's see how Gemini can help us there. So I'm on Gemini.google.com. That would be accessible to you as well. And here, beyond day-to-day HR tasks, HR often needs to conduct research and provide some sort of strategic insights to management. For example, if our agency is considering expanding or maybe refining its remote work policy, I need solid data to explain this to my management. So instead of spending days sifting through articles, I can ask Gemini to architect a comprehensive report to me, which I can then make it available for my management to make a decision on remote work policy. Okay. Now the use cases and examples that I'm taking here, I just made them up with the help of Gemini today. They may or may not relate to you in your day-to-day, but what I'm trying to help you understand is Gemini can really take your use cases and help you create content and give you insights right away. Okay, so I will come back to Gemini here, and you see there is a deep research in Canvas. Deep research is when you really need to dig deeper into a specific topic. That's our use case here, because we want to create a report that tells us a lot about remote work so that we can present it to our management. And I'm asking generate a detailed report on that, and I'm asking include some of the sections such as executive summary and add some statistic. So that I can make it visual as well. Now, essentially, as a researcher, this is what you do. You gather a lot of articles and sources, and then you create your report. And that's what deep research will do here.
Tab switch. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. Okay, so I went to Gemini.google.com. I clicked on this deep research, and I said, create a report for me and include some of things like executive summary, cost effectiveness of it, and how would it impact talent attraction and so on. And Gemini came back to me with its plan. It says, this is what I'm going to do. I will research these websites with these themes and topics. If I need to change this plan, I can click on edit and change plan. But based on time, if I like it, I'll click on start research. It would take some time because it might go to 50 or 100 websites, and it will work its magic and provide me the report. So in the meantime, it's going there and thinking and implementing some of the tasks. As you see, it is researching website. Let's move to something else, and we can come back to this one. Now, let's say as HR, one of the prominent things that we do, especially if we are into recruitments, is to hire talent. And that starts with, we might get job description from the department that is hiring, right? So let's see how Gemini can help us with crafting a solid job description. And for that, I'll click on new chat. And here you see Canvas option. Now, Canvas is, if you just need to ask something static, such as, hey, when was this monument built? And it's a static answer, so you can just write it in Gemini. But when you have something dynamic with which you will do back and forth, such as you're writing it like a blog post of 1,000 words, in that case, you would rather click on Canvas, because then it lets you edit some parts of it and, replace specific parts of that content piece. So here I'm saying, draft a detailed job description for a senior HR specialist at New York State Public Agency. The role focuses on, and some of the basics like job summary, reporting structure, etc. So I'll give this to it. And now Canvas, as you see, it opens on the right-hand side. And it starts to write the job description. Now, as I set the expectations right from the beginning, Gemini will do most of the work for you as a doer, as an intern who's pretty smart. But it's you who will be, analyzing it to make sure that it meets your expectation. Otherwise, you can do back and forth and make sure it meets your expectation, and finally it's ready to be published. So this is what it came up with. If I need to edit any specific thing, I can just select it and ask Gemini. If I need to do some formatting here, I can do that. Otherwise, I can, if I'm satisfied, and next step would be to collaborate with my manager or other teams, I can take it to export docs, and it is now exporting this to my Google Doc. And then once it's there, I can then share it with the required collaborators. That's there. Okay. Now maybe I can come back to Gemini again. And once we have that solid job description, the next crucial step in our hiring process might be to develop some sort of targeted interview questions. So Gemini can help with that too. So I'll come back to Gemini here, and maybe I can close this, and I will say, based on this job description, we create some behavioral questions for us. And it will now understand the context of our previous chat, and it will give us the questions which are specific to these job descriptions. Okay. But for now, let's say we have this job description ready and we can share with collaborators. And sometimes we also need to have this job description in different language. So for that, we can simply come here and I will say Spanish version. Oops. And all I need to do is I'll open Gemini, which is universally accessible in Google Workspace apps like Gmail, Doc, Sheets, etc., by clicking on this Ask Gemini button. And here I will say, please translate this document to Spanish. Okay, and it's not like a robotic translation. It's understanding the context and giving you that job description in a different language. Okay, if I like it, I can just insert it. Otherwise, I can keep tweaking it. I can click on insert, and now we have the Spanish version too. Okay, for now, I'll just do Control Z and remove it. So this our job description is now ready. Now, what we need to do next is maybe we can. I'm just thinking what should be the natural extension to this. Now, let's say once we publish this job, we start to get a lot of resumes for this job. And as you know, we need to do some analysis of those resumes to make sure that we are making a fair and transparent decision to hiring the best candidate for this job. And for that, let me share this tab with you. And I have resume analysis Google Drive folder. And what I have here is 3 resumes with the simplest name possible. So resume 1, and yes, the formatting might not be good, but I guess you will get the concept. So Michael, some experience and education and so on. And if I go back to just a second, did I stop sharing? Share resume analysis. Okay. So, and then I have 3 resumes, and then I have resume analysis guidelines. When I click on that and share this tab rather, you will see that here I'm just mentioning my criteria, that this is how we should be evaluating those candidates for that specific job. Right. So I will now come back to maybe this new doc. Let's create a new document with docs.new shortcut. And we have this new document. And essentially, I want to analyze those 3 candidates. In your case, the number might be 30 or 50. That's okay. We want to analyze those 3 resumes following our guidelines that we have published in our resume analysis guidelines. Okay, so for that, I will click on this Ask Gemini again, and here, this is what I'm saying. And I'm saying, analyze the 3 provided candidate resumes, resume 1, 2, and 3, against the resume analysis guidelines document. And the way you can refer to these documents is by simply using @, and it will open the window where you can select the documents that you want to refer them to. Okay, and for each candidate, I'm saying, include their strengths and some compliance rating, and finally, also provide me your best recommendation that which candidate is like the best fit for this opening. Okay, so I press enter, and let's see what it comes up with. So it understood the task, and it provided me exactly what I asked for. If I still need it, need to tweak it, I can do some back and forth. But assuming that I'm satisfied with its response, I'll click on insert. Okay, and as you see here, it came up with the strengths, okay, for Sarah, which is the resume 1 candidate, and it provided strengths, weakness, compliance rating based on the resume, insights, and some rationale. It provided that for Michael, and then finally for Emily too. Okay, and after this, analyzing all these candidates, it also gave me the overall recommendation. It says less suitable because her benefits expertise is valuable. The role requires more comprehensive HR experience. So if we go back, it says Sarah is highly suitable because her direct public sector experience and specialized knowledge make her an ideal candidate. It may or may not be what you do on your day-to-day, but it is really powerful to let Gemini analyze your documents. In the last webinar where we ran procurement persona Gemini, we analyzed RFP responses. So whichever role you play in your day-to-day, just imagine if you can take a bunch of documents, maybe these are your proposals from vendors or resume for candidates, etc. You can let Gemini do the frontline work for you so that you have good enough information to make an informed decision. Okay, now that's document analysis. So I'll close some of these windows. Give me a second here. But for now, let's come back to Notebook LM. And I clicked on Generate under Audio Overview because you can take your documents and create a podcast out of it, so you can listen to it on the go. Notebook LM does have Android and iOS applications, so you can install those on your mobile devices and get insights and learnings on the go. So let me click on play, and you will realize it's not like a robotic translation or speech, text to speech, but it really sounds like professional podcast.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something pretty complex. Public service employment.
That's right.
We'll start with a specific system, New York State, look at how they hire and manage people. But then we want to kind of zoom out, connect those rules to the bigger, maybe universal challenges of attracting and.
All right, so this is how you can make the learning even more interactive. And we recently launched interactive mode that's in beta for now, but I'll still take a chance to demo this to you. Essentially, I'm trying to become part of this podcast, and I can ask questions about the content to these 2 hosts of the podcast. I'm not sure if I have good enough questions, so I might ask a silly question, but hopefully that will give you an idea. Okay, so I'll click on play.
Oh, our listeners got something to share. Let's hear it.
Hi, I'm pretty new to
Hello
this
there.
state.
Thanks for chiming in.
Hearing is definitely a big part of this whole system. Hey, yeah, what's up?
I'm pretty new to the state, and you kept mentioning NYS, but what does it stand for?
Oh, welcome to the show. That's a great question.
Absolutely. We sometimes forget that not everyone knows all the acronyms.
So when we say NYS, we're talking about New York State.
That's right. We've been diving into some information related to.
All right, so this is how you can leverage Notebook LM audio overview, create a podcast out of your sources, and then leverage interactive mode, just as you would ask a human being a question who has read all those sources that you uploaded. Okay, so for now, we covered architecting and implementing with Gemini. Let me show you one more case where we can simply go to docs.new, and let's create a new document here. And I have this New York sick leave policy, okay, which is, it has good amount of text, but we are transformed HR with the help of Gemini. So let's do something interesting here. So I'll copy this, and I will go to my new Google document, paste the content here. Let's remove the FAQs because we didn't copy them, and let's call it NY leave policy. Okay, and what I'll do now is I will go to WIDS, which is our newest addition to Google Workspace. So I'll go to wids.google.com, and I can create a video out of it. So I'll click on Start a New Video, and I will click on Plan Your Video Story. And here I'm trying to create explainer video which explain our employees on our sick leave policy. So I'll say, please create an explainer video so about our vacation policy or leave policy, so that our employees can plan their time off better. Please refer to our policy here, and then I can use @ and what was the name? NY leave policy. I can refer to this document. So I'm not trying to do any fancy video editing for now, just asking it, hey, here's the document, take the context and create a draft video, which of course we can edit if needed. So it came up with these scenes. If I need to edit some, I can of course edit or delete. Otherwise I can click next, choose a template, say create the draft video. Behind the scenes, it's very powerful. It's getting the context. It will not just copy paste the whole document content. It just takes the context from my question or my request, would go to this document, create the scripts for those scenes, create placeholders as you see here, and then it also gives me an option to generate voiceover so that this text can be converted to audio. So I'll click on generate voiceover. I can choose the one that I like.
The voice you select makes a difference.
The voice you select makes a difference.
I like this teacher voice, so I'll say update all voiceovers. Based on the time we have left, I'll just wrap this up in a minute, but this is what I was able to do within 30 seconds of effort. So far, I have not leveraged any video editing skills, and I don't need to with WIDS. Of course, if I need to, go and edit some of the pieces or replace this with my own recording or stock media, I can do that. But let me let you see like the draft video that it was able to create for me.
Welcome to our video guide about the New York leave policy. Let's help you understand how to plan your time off effectively. This video will walk you through our leave policy so you can make the most of your time off. Understanding our leave policy helps you plan, avoid schedule issues, and use your benefits fully. We'll go through the key points of the NY leave policy document. Let's take a
All right, so this is pretty amazing what Google WIDS can do with just referring to the context that you give it, or maybe you provide via referring it to your Google Docs, Sheets, or in fact PDF files. Okay, so that's pretty much architecting and implementing with Gemini. And let's move to the other demos that we have, which is from operational reality to strategic impact. In HR, we do a bunch of things. We collect data about, with an objective to make sure that we are, our employees are happy so that they can add more value to their service. So I'll close some of these windows here just to clean up a bit and come back to our Google Sheets here. Just a second. So share this tab. Okay, hopefully you can see my Google Sheet now. So this Google Sheet is pretty operational. All it tells me is the name, email, department, laptop model that's provided to that employee, and a bit of user feedback, such as whether it's a great laptop or no issues, etc. And whether it's a company-owned device or bring your own device. And I need to tell my management where should we invest more so that our employees are more happy. Should we give them company-owned devices, or should we let them bring their own devices but invest more on securing our company data on those BYOD devices? And as soon as I have this sheet, Gemini proactively asking me to analyze this data. I can click on that and it will understand the context of the document and will start giving me insights. Okay. But other than the default insight that it will start providing me, because I need to create a document that I will present to my management, I will rather say my custom question, which will be, please analyze if users are more productive and happy with their own device or company owned. Also add rationale and recommendation for the management. And no formulas, no fancy thing, just a basic prompt where I'm giving enough context of what I'm trying to achieve. And it started working on that. Okay. It will do all the formulas, the user rating, etc. So I don't need to work on those. And it is analysis step. First, calculate the average user rating for company-owned and BYOD devices, and then analyze user feedback for recurring themes. Okay, come on, Gemini. I'm running short on time. And in the meantime, maybe I can go back to the remote work research that I asked Gemini to write. And as you see, it came back with pretty detailed report. And because I asked it to add stats to make it rational, and it came back with those stats as well, impacts, etc. So this is how you can generate research reports, very detailed on specific topics to save some of your time. And once you have those reports ready, it will also tell you the sources that are used, and then you can export it, or you can take it to Google Docs and do further collaboration on that. Okay, let's go back to Google Sheet here, and it seems it got stuck. It's taking time. So what I'll do is do a quick refresh, and I'll ask this question again. Okay, it started referencing. It started working this time, and it tells me that the key takeaway is higher satisfaction with company-owned devices, which is pretty strange in general, but it is explaining us the data, so we'll go with that. Okay, and it also added some visuals to it. Right, so I can now take it to a Google document, and it's ready to be presented to my management. Okay, now based on the time left, we will do the last demonstration, which is to automate your day-to-day with Gemini. Gemini can really help automating some of your day-to-day stuff, but because we are talking about HR, let's talk about document generation. Because manually generating documents is, of course, time-consuming and error-prone, so we'll automate some of that by leveraging Gemini and its coding or scripting abilities. So for that, I will close some of these windows, just a second, and then let's get back to Gemini and let's start a new chat. And first, I'll show you a scenario so that you have the context on what I'm trying to achieve. Okay, so I have this folder in my Google Drive, and where essentially, multiple people applied, and we are hiring, let's say, 5 people for this job. We had multiple openings. So instead of creating those offer letters one by one, which is time consuming, I want to do some sort of document merge to create personalized documents at one click. So what I did, I created this offer letter template. I formatted it by just bolding, what I want the output in bold. And it's a template, as you see here. And I added the variables like this, adding these brackets. And then I also have this offer letter sheet where I'm mentioning candidate details, such as their address and compensation and who will be the reporting manager and offer expiry date and so on. And at last, I have offer letter status. And what I essentially want to do using some sense is take that offer letter that I created, make a copy of that, and for each copy, replace the variables such as candidate name with these, such as Sarah, David, and so on. Okay, and once you create that, put the offer letter status here as, so maybe something like generated offer letter. So next time, if I have more candidates and I run this function again, I want them to be skipped because the status of these is already generated. And finally, give me the document link of those documents here so that I can, assess them. And for that, what I'll do now is I will, of course, I've created these prompts in advance, and there might be a chance that if you start to do it for the first time, it may not work as you expect it to. You need to take the error that you get, give it back to Gemini, and rest assured, you would be able to do similar tasks. So I'm back to Gemini, and I'll click on Canvas, and here I'm asking it, this script task, and I'm asking, as an HR professional, I'm responsible for talent acquisition, and I want to automate the individual offer letters, just so that it understands what I'm trying to do. And then I'm giving some technical details like, take this document and make a copy, and then replace those variables with the values that I have in my Google Sheet. And it started to create that script for me. Okay. So once it comes back, completing the script that it did, I'll just copy that script. And now I can go back to my Google Sheet, which is here, and I will go to tools, not tools, extensions, and I will click on app script. Okay, and here I will paste the content that I copied, click on save, and click on run. Okay, that on open function run. You don't need to go into technicalities. I hope you're getting, how you can leverage that. So I'll go back to my Google Sheet, and it added this HR automation menu bar. Okay, and now I will click on that to say generate offer letters. It will run the script. It's taking its time. Okay, it says letter generated. Okay, and it, as you see here, I opened the first one, and it says, it replaced those variables. As you see here, it has the candidate name, salary, reporting manager, and the date, which is not in the format that I would prefer. So what should I do next? I should go back to Gemini and say, this is how you're inserting the date. I just want the MMDDYY format, and it will tweak the script, give it back to me, and then I follow, rest of the process that I just showed you. So it's 12:51. I think I'll just wrap up here, but hope you were able to get some value from today's session. And regardless of whether you wear HR hat in your day-to-day or something else, you might be able to replicate some of this and might get some, might create some amazing things with Gemini. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Goldie. So I think we'll take a couple of questions here at the end. So we're going to start with the most popular ones first. So Ricardo asks, how can HR colleagues use Gemini to screen or long list dozens or hundreds of candidate applications?
That's a great question. I have never analyzed those numbers, so I'm not sure if there is a limitation. So I would request to just give it a shot. I have not tested, but even if you have those resumes in one folder, I'm not sure if you can like refer to that folder saying analyze all the resumes in this specific folder based on the response or the analysis document. So give it a try, and if you hit any limits, just let us know. We would be happy to take the feedback to the product.
Thank you. And next question, Jorge says, when sharing a link as a source, can Notebook LM use all the embedded links in the original link shared, or will it only limit to the content in the single web page?
That's a great question, and one of the prominent feature requests coming in. This is not the capability that exists today. So today, if you give it a web page, it will take that web page content itself. It will not go to links and nested pages. But there was a lot of feedback on this, and I think product team will consider that, and we will update you as soon as it gets considered for the roadmap.
Thank you. Okay, next question comes from Jeremy. Can Gemini use Microsoft Office files in addition to the Google files? And what about Adobe?
I think in Gemini, you would be able to upload Microsoft Office files. For Adobe files, I'm not pretty sure of them. So maybe if you have one, just give it a try and you will get the answer.
Yeah, Microsoft Office files definitely work. You can do any of that side panel analysis. You can upload it as a resource. So we're all good with the Microsoft files. Okay, next question. David says, can you use Gemini to generate videos and other original content?
I didn't get it. Like Gemini to create videos in other languages?
And other original content. So I'm assuming maybe like generate video content or image content, perhaps, is the question.
I think those capabilities are upcoming, but for now, if you have such use case, you can go to vids.google.com, create videos there, and there we have an option where you can just prompt the vids to create a video for you. So yesterday I was demoing it to a customer, and I said, create a video where you are showing a new employee who joined our organization excited and happy, and it created a clip for me. So give vids.google.com a try, and I think it might help you with the use case.
You can also generate images as well in original content. You can generate that in slides and Gemini to some extent. Okay, the next question comes from Rush. Is there a way that Gemini can create a PowerPoint presentation?
I would say not exactly PowerPoint, but if you want to leverage for Google Slides, then yes. Instead of going to Gemini.google.com, creating content and then coming back to slide, you can leverage Gemini within Slides itself. So just go to slides.new, create a new slide, ask Gemini, give it enough content or the context, and it will create slides for you. I think we have recently launched some advancements to that too. So something like adaptive images. So within Slide, if you ask it to create an image, it will keep your content theme in mind, and it will create images that will go well with your Slides content.
And if you
Yes, no PowerPoint slides.
What I was going to say, though, is if you do need to, you can always export a Google slide as a PowerPoint file. Not that you should. Just invite people into your Google Slides. But we do always offer the option to export anything that's in Google, in our Google ecosystem as a Microsoft equivalent. We work very well with others. Okay, next question comes from Marianne D. When using the audio mode in Notebook LM to ask the host questions, can you ask the questions in Spanish?
That's a great question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the accurate answer here. We can check and let you know.
And then David asks, how do we upload documents into the program, by which I think he means Notebook LM?
How do we upload documents? Yeah, so there are two options there in case if you just want to leverage the literature that's already available on the web. You can leverage Discover documents and just give it your topic, such as I'm trying to get insights from this, and it will get the documents, and you can select those. Or in case if you have something that's on your system, something proprietary, you can also upload those documents from your machine or desktop. It accepts Google Drive, like Google Docs and Sheets. I'm not sure. Google Drive and Docs and Slides, I think. YouTube video and web pages and copy text, and you can upload audio files and PDF files and so on.
Yeah, there should be an upload files dialog box or option within the space. Okay, the last question for today comes from Leo, and it says, is Notebook LM part of the Google Suite Enterprise offerings, or is this a separate program we would need to purchase?
That's a great question, and glad to say that yes, it's a part of our Google Workspace subscription, so no additional cost on your side. If you have the Google Workspace subscription, you can simply go to notebooklm.google.com. Assuming that your IT team has enabled it for you, you should be able to leverage it right away. And it follows those same security controls. So we will not use your data in any ways to train our models.
Exactly. Thank you, Goldie. And that's the plus version of Notebook LM. If you did have frontline level of users, they would get a basic offering of Notebook LM and the Gemini app. So we do offer free tiers of service, but if you are an enterprise or a business user, you do get the full Notebook LM Plus and Gemini Advanced at no cost. So that wraps up our questions for today. Thank you all so much for your participation. We really appreciate it. And again, this video will be posted to YouTube, so you can check out the recording if you missed the first half of it, and feel free to share with your colleagues. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week, a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Take care. Bye.